A former Roanoke County athletic director pleaded guilty earlier this month to federal child pornography charges. Now we're learning about new accusations nearly 20 years later. Target 7 investigator Melissa Gaona has been looking into this story since the news broke. Melissa, you looked into a recently acquired state police report. What can you tell us?
Well, Natalie, back in 2006, Randall Meck was released as athletic director of Cave Spring High School after something was found on his work computer. Nearly 20 years later, as you mentioned, he's arrested for federal charges on child pornography and child sexual abuse. WDBJ7 sat down in an exclusive interview with the top guy on the Roanoke County School Board back then to find out what was on Meck's computer that got him fired. Did you see what was on Randall Meck's computer?
I did not.
Can you tell us what you were told was on the computer?
I cannot.
Were there children?
I can't answer that.
Was he naked in any of the images?
I can't answer that.
Was it considered porn?
Can't answer that. Can say though that it was information that was, as I call it, departable information. Either you depart from us, or we'll depart from you.
WDBJ7 got a hold of the investigative report from May of 2006. It states police were given a copy of an online conversation on gay.com and a photo of Randall Meck. Someone told police that two individuals admitted they were sexually molested by Meck when they were students at Cave Spring. However, this contact would not release the identities of the victims. The Commonwealth's attorney agreed there was not enough evidence, and this case was closed.
He had access to children.
He did.
He had availability to walk inside of a locker room and see boys naked. Do you think parents deserved, looking back on this, do you think parents deserve to know what was on his computer?
Yes, that's the situation anywhere and any time. However, there are rights and there are laws and there are restrictions that allow us and stop us from doing that.
Do you believe, Mike, that this could have been prevented, that there could be less child victims had more information been released back in 2006?
No, I don't. As far as the information that we had was not a chargeable offense.
In 2006, the superintendent was releasing Meck from his position as athletic director at Cave Spring High School, but still willing to give him a job in the county.
What changed that?
Something broke. We found stuff that naturally that staff was looking at, that concerned staff, concerned the school. They got deep into that, and then when they got deep into that, of course, that caused him, as you very well know, to be fired from Roanoke County.
At that time, the school district could not release what they found due to it being a, quote, personnel matter. Meck had hundreds of people, including parents, backing him up, some even threatening to boycott graduation if Meck was not there.
Why did people love him so much?
He was very effective at being a hands-on athletic director. He was at events. I mean, my understanding back then, was invited to people's houses for birthday parties.
Nearly 20 years later, Meck pled guilty to distribution of child pornography. Law enforcement had evidence of Meck and another person talking online about the sexual abuse of a boy, as well as inappropriate photos of a boy with a man. Meck also gave an undercover officer a preview of child sex victims in the Philippines and was attempting to coordinate a trip to go meet those victims. Court records show he had more than 700 videos and photos depicting sexual abuse of children.
Now, some have reached out to WDBJ7 saying the fact that the investigative report says no victims came forward is a flat-out lie, claiming it was swept under the rug. Virginia State Police is withholding 12 pages from this report because we're told the release of those pages could identify potential victims. If you or anyone you know is a victim of sexual assault, you can anonymously talk to a professional at the National Sexual Assault Telephone Hotline. The number is here on your screen, 800-656-4673. Tonight, we're continuing our Target 7 investigation into Randall Meck. The former Roanoke County athletic director recently pleaded guilty to federal charges of child pornography. While those specific crimes did not happen here in our area, we do know that Meck was fired from his position as athletic director at Cave Spring High School back in 2006 after his computer was confiscated. The big question, why was Meck fired? We could not help but wonder if it had to do with the same pedophilic behavior that recently landed him in prison. Last week, Target 7 uncovered a 20-year-old police report showing Meck was accused of molesting 2 Cave Springs students, but was never charged. The report says the case was closed by the Commonwealth's attorney because, quote, no victims could be located or came forward. We took those questions to the school board chairman back then, Mike Stovall, who also said he was unaware of any victims coming forward. But tonight, nearly 20 years later, we hear from a man who says he did speak out. Will we ever know what was on Randall Meck's computer in 2006?
Maybe not.
And why? Why can't that information be released?
Well, that's a good question. And I think part of it is because it never made it to the court of law.
WDBJ 7 filed a Freedom of Information Act with the Virginia State Police requesting any files on Randy Meck. As suspected, we got back an investigative report dated May of 2006. It stated victim names were not given, no victim could be located or came forth. So the case was closed.
One person. All it took would have been one person 10 years ago. 15 years ago, whenever. It would have taken one person to stand up and say, this happened.
Alex Jarvis says he did come forward in 2006, 10 years after Meck tried to abuse him while he was a student at Cave Spring High School. Jarvis's testimony caught our attention because he knew specific details that were in the investigative report, which has never been released to the public. He agreed to share his story only with Target 7. It begins in 1996 when Jarvis was a junior at Cave Spring. He first encountered Meck in an AOL chat room for gay people in Roanoke.
He started asking me for pictures, if I had pictures of actors that were nude. He started flirting with me. He would say things like, I like it when you leave my classroom. You have a cute butt. Or, I don't know if you noticed today, but I dropped my pen right around you. That way I could get a closer look at your crotch. Stay after school late one day, meet me in the coach's lounge and bend me over the couch. You can do it. Another student has already done it, so you can do it too. And I was scared because I was 16 or 17, I don't recall which. I was very much in the closet. Nobody knew, but somehow this man figured out who I was, and I was terrified he was going to tell somebody that I was gay.
Jarvis says Meck was the business computer applications teacher, and he told Meck to leave him alone, or else he would tell the principal.
Alex, what was the tone in the late 90s for anyone who was gay?
For a gay teenager, it wasn't talked about. You kept it to yourself, and that's why you found these chat rooms on the internet, to find people who could at least understand you.
Did you ever think about telling your parents?
No, that was never an option. They couldn't know. They could not know that I was gay and that I was in chat rooms on the internet talking to other gay people. Oh no, that was not an option.
Alex says he did reach out to the boy who Meck allegedly claimed to have had sex with in the coach's lounge.
So I confronted him, and he confirmed exactly what Meck had told me, that they had gone to Cave Spring after hours in the coach's lounge and had sex.
Still keeping quiet, Alex says he moved on with his life. That was until 10 years later in 2006 when Alex saw a story on the news.
Randy Meck was asked to resign as Cave Springs athletic director.
The school district decided not to renew Meck's contract, leading to a groundswell of support from parents.
It would break Randy Meck's heart.
Some of whom threatened to boycott graduation if Meck was not there.
I was absolutely disgusted and nauseated hearing people talk about this man like he was some type of saint and this hero. They, being the school, was doing him wrong, and I couldn't sit in silence. I had to tell somebody.
Alex Frolick says he contacted local media, sent an email to the school system with detailed information about what happened, then did an interview with the reporter. But the story never aired.
I never heard from him again. And that same afternoon or that evening on the local news, the breaking news was Meck had been fired due to recent information that had been found out. I tried to stop this. I'm sorry. But I said, we tried to stop this in 2006, and we were ignored, and it was swept under the rug. And so he's been doing the same crap. They chose to protect him and give him secrecy. He was allowed to do this filth.
Again, Mike Stovall, the chairman of the school board in 2006, says they gave the information to Roanoke County and Virginia State Police. And this investigative report from 2006 proves that is true. Why the case was closed, we still do not know. The Commonwealth's attorney at the time was Randy Leach, and he died 5 months ago.